Basically, as far back as I can remember, basically that's when I think my life started, was middle school. I was around 14, 15 years old. I was a people pleaser. I didn't really have much thought in my intellect, and deep down I really only sought out surface level things and surface level relationships. So that just led to getting in trouble in school and not really having deep connections with people, just because it would always be me trying to be who other people wanted me to be. So I would just make them laugh and cater towards their humor. And that led me to a bad spot because COVID happened and everything shut down and I could not see anybody. And I just based my whole life on other people and how they made me feel. I never sought out anything deep down within myself. So it was always surface level, and then when I got that stripped from me, I didn't know what to do. I was lost. I didn't know anything about myself, and I just fell deep into a depression, and I had anger issues. I was tore up. I was a monster. I punched holes in walls. I threw stuff. I broke our TVs in our house, and this was all when I was like 14, 15. It was a terrible spot for me. It was terrible because, I mean, it's hard to say, and you know, I come on here, I'm super nervous about it, but I'm just gonna be honest because, you know, I want to build trust between me and whoever wants to join the journey with me of just, you know, growth and self-help and all that, but not in a fake way of just the hustle culture, but, you know, just trying to find your passion in life. So I just want to be honest and tell y'all who I really am and what I've been through. So basically, I fell into a deep depression, super bad anger issues, and it led to me self-harming. And yeah, I straight up, I mean, yeah, like it's hard for me to say it, but like, you know, I'm trying to be more open about stuff, and because, you know, I want people to come up to me and ask me questions and talk to me about it. So I mean, I eventually cut myself, and that was a really hard time in my life. And after I cut myself, my parents didn't know what to do with me, so they sent me off to a mental hospital, which, you know, it was a good thing to keep me from doing it even more. So I was at the mental hospital for about 7 days. I didn't really learn much. I was just trying to do what I could to get out of there. So I went back home, and I did the same thing. I threatened to run away. I had an instance where I basically got locked out of the house because my family felt unsafe. And, you know, I was basically like a monster. I feel terrible saying it now that I talk about it out loud. I was a monster, and so I ran around the house banging on the windows, banging on the doors, trying to get in. So eventually I got in the back door, and my dad was standing there. Like, I mean, I remember this vividly. Like, this was a terrible time. My dad was standing there to try to block me, but I pushed him away, and because I was mad at my brother at the point. So I ran up to him and I grabbed the TV what he was watching on, and I picked it up and threw it right down beside him, and I was like, I fucking hate you. I mean, me telling this story just brings back emotions that I genuinely hate, because it destroyed me, and I feel like it destroyed my family. And so that was just absolutely terrible what I did. That led me going to the mental hospital again, because my parents didn't know what to do, but they just, you know, they wanted to get me out of the house. So I went to the mental hospital again, and they were sure enough not to let me home again. And so I got sent off to Utah to a wilderness program. That was for about 3.5 months. I basically slept on the desert floor, and I mean, it was a terrible experience at first, but I'm an adaptable person, and it led to my downfall because I didn't really learn much there. I just adapted because my roots of people pleasing. I just was like, oh, a group of guys, we can just hang out and, you know, camp and whatnot. But no, it was worse than that. We hiked about 3 miles every day to our new camp. We had to set up shop, you know, we didn't have toilets. We ate rice and beans with like a can of chickens and some trail mix and some cheese, and that was all we ate basically. You had little incentives to like get up the levels and climb up the ranks so that you could eventually graduate and go home. But I didn't go home after I graduated that. I got sent off to another boarding school. And that other boarding school was for 13 months. So in total, 14-year-old kid got sent away for like 1.5 years. because I wasn't ready to be home yet. I hadn't learned what I needed to learn, and so I got sent off to that aftercare program, and that's what they called it. So after Utah, they told me that I was going to that, and they said it's co-ed. And if you don't know what that means it's girls and boys. I think that was bad for me in a sense because I didn't really go into it with the mindset of learning. I went into it with the people-pleasing mindset of, oh shoot, I get to just have fun with a bunch of more kids and meet new people. But what I needed to learn was how to grow and be a better person and not have these anger issues. And what I really needed to learn was what was really going on deep down inside that made me do these things, that made me get to a point in my life where I felt that self-harming was the way to go. I met some very good people. I still talk to some people from that boarding school. I mean, it's been years. I visit a couple of them a lot. But overall, my experience was I didn't learn as much as I needed to because I was only 16. I was 14 when I was crashing out, 15 when I got sent away, turning 16 there. And so, I mean, there's only so much a 16-year-old can learn. Like, I wasn't mature enough to fully comprehend what was really going on. I mean, I had a good understanding of it, good skills, but I never really put them to use. So I basically adapted my way because, like I said, I'm a very adaptable person. I strive in new environments, and that can be a downfall because, I was like, oh, this is great. I get to sleep on a bed and eat good food and hang out with friends the whole time. I didn't go in with the mindset of, oh, this sucks. I really should work on myself to get myself out of here. So instead, I just kind of faked some of it. But I mean, I did learn stuff and ended up being a good kid, I guess. But a good kid enough to graduate. So I graduated that, came back to my hometown, and everything changed for me. Because, I came back and I hit up old friends and they had all changed, which I mean, yeah, you do. In a year and a half, you definitely change. They kind of just moved on, and I was like hitting them up to try to party because I came back home with freedom. And I was like, oh shoot, I have the ability to party now. Because I was older, high school, people going to parties, football games and stuff. And I was like, oh shoot, I want to do this. And then I really, I had no friends when I came back because they all moved on. And I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself, but I didn't know, so I kind of just coasted by in high school. And in high school was when I really started to pick it up and be more productive because I had fallen in love with the gym at that boarding school. And the gym at that boarding school was the best thing that ever happened to me because I had learned so much about taking your anger out on it to, eating healthy around it and just overall having a better quality of life because of it. Like when I got back to my hometown, I started going to the gym more and I loved it. I haven't stopped going ever since. I've literally have been at least 5 days a week since I was in, sophomore of high school. And so during high school, I had my little phase of partying, sadly drinking and smoking. I will admit that. Illegal, but, it's something that I did and I'm ashamed of doing. You can't rewrite your past, but you can always strive for a better future. So my parents were saying, you need to get a job. And by them saying that, I was like, oh, hell no, because I always had an entrepreneurial bone in my body. So basically, I was like, yeah, absolutely not. I'm not getting a job because I hated the idea of working for a boss. It was pretty egotistical and whatever you may call it, but I did not want to do it. So basically, I started day trading. I started customizing shoes and selling them. I even tried some online companies. They all fell through, but point was, I didn't want to work for somebody, so I tried other routes. And it eventually got to a point where I even started selling alcohol. Either stealing it. Yeah, I mean, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I did. I did that, and then I got caught, and that was kind of like my turning around. Another, basically like a rebirth kind of thing. I was like, you know what, that was bad what I was doing. So I'm gonna try to flip a leaf and get a job. And so what I thought was the best thing was, I fell in love with the gym. I went to Chipotle a lot, so I got a job at Chipotle's. Worked there for about 2 years in total. So through high school, I worked at Chipotle. I kind of adopted this military mindset because ever since my first paycheck hit of $1,000, I was like, oh my gosh, yep, fell in love with money in a bad way. So what I would do was I'd wake up at 6:50 for school on Monday, and then go to school till 2:45, and then I drive to work directly after school, change in the car so that way the second I parked it, I could immediately run out and then get on the clock and start getting paid. And then I would clock out at 10:30 so that way I had enough time to go to bed at 10:50, so that way it gave me 8 hours of sleep. And then on my off days, I would go to school and then drive directly to the gym as efficiently as possible, change in the car, and then I'll go to the gym, and then right after the gym I'd go back to Chipotle, get free food. I was eating Chipotle for lunch and dinner all week. I mean, it was a cheat code for me. I was getting so much protein in. But yeah, it got to a certain point where I was like addicted to the money. I only would work, like if I could get as many hours as I could. And I mean, they have a kind of a strict rule on overtime, like you're not really allowed to get it, but sometimes I would get it and I'd love it. So basically, it was nearing the end of my senior year actually, where I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to college because, you know, I didn't want to ever work for a boss. I wanted to do the entrepreneurial route. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to a trade. So I chose electrical work, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna own my own business. And so I chose electrical because there's gonna be so many renovations in it. I mean, plumbing's gonna stay the same, HVAC is gonna stay the same, welding's gonna stay the same. Whereas electrician, there's always gonna be a new sound system, speaker system, new TVs, everything new in the houses. New switches, dimming lights, everything. So that's why I chose that. I'm like, I can own my own business through that as a backbone, because in between high school, Chipotle, and my electrical work, I found the passion of filming. And I absolutely, there's something about it. I become a nerd when it comes to filming, YouTube content, all that stuff, providing value to people. Like, it is just, oh my gosh, dude, I can't explain how it makes me feel alive. I've found my passion in life. I want to provide value through entertainment. I don't really have a main motto, but like, it's just all about living life and finding your passion and running with it. That's one of the biggest things I've learned is if you're not passionate in life about one thing at least, you're gonna spiral, you're gonna go downhill. That's what I've learned. So you need to be passionate about something, because I wasn't passionate about anything. All I was surface level. So what that led to, I fell into depression and I eventually cut myself. Yeah, terrible time. But I just hope it can bring more people to me that are secretly going through stuff, or, you know, I realize, and I think I have something to provide to people that, you know, like you're not in it alone. I've battled through a bunch of stuff. I still battle stuff. That said, so now my passion is the recording of the YouTube and making motivational videos and entertainment videos. Because eventually I want to be able to network with people and then start my own business, open up my own brand, but along the way, take people with me. Like, provide value through my content and uplift people around me. That's one of my bigger goals. One of the downfalls to me being so passionate about stuff is I'll let stuff dry and die. If it doesn't give me value, or I see no benefit in it, just like how I was with school, I'll let it die. And it's bad. My friend relationships, it's always been a struggle for me, because if I feel like you're not a very thought out person or like highly intellectual person, kind of like I am, and I'm not tooting my own horn, I'm just saying if you can't really have a deep psychological conversation with me, because I was once surface level. I can't go back to it. Like, I used to be just the funny guy, and it was so surface level, for me at least. Like, people deep down are genuinely funny, and I love it. But if you can't dial it back and like introspect, or if you can't like deep dive into why you are the way you are, I don't want to say I don't have time for you, but like, if we're just gonna sit there and talk about the weather, dude, I'd rather go do something fun. Fun to me is filming. Fun to me is going to the gym. Fun to me is dieting. I'm a very goal-oriented guy. It really is sometimes bad because I get in over my head a little bit too much. I don't give myself enough personal time. I don't give my time to my family because I'm so focused on what I'm doing, and it has burnt bridges. It has burnt relationships. But at the end of the day, like, this is my passion. This is what took me out of the deepest, darkest parts of my life. This right here, being super passionate about this, is my way out of spiraling. So that's why I do it. And that's why I'm so focused and spend so many hours on it. But it's all worth it in the end because I wouldn't have it any other way. One thing I heard was, if you're not going to bed exhausted and waking up happy and waking up excited to wake up, you're not living life right. You're not doing something right. You're not. And I fully believe that. And if you don't wake up with some sort of passion and excitement to get about your day, you should seek for something. Seek for something. I really hope it's not just me that needs the passion in life. I want to bring people together who are super passionate about something and want to make it true in their life, whether it be goals, creating stuff, whatever the case may be. That's my main goal and passion in life, is to have people be inspired and passionate about something of their own, because then that's when it leads to good stuff happening in your life. Okay, it's been really real. I've never done anything like this in my life. I mean, I haven't told a lot of people about what I got going on. So this is a little blog for everybody. Jeez. I really did this. I'm really telling the world about how I used to cut myself. And now that I'm super passionate about something, man, how life changes. Life changes a lot, dude. It's for the better for me though. Yeah, I really enjoyed making this video like I always do. Yeah, I really hope you took something from this. That's just a little bit of my story, and hope it can build more trust between you and me, to where you realize I'm not just faking this. Like I genuinely love everything that I'm doing right now. If I put something out, I love it. There's no doubt about that. With that being said, I hope you hit your protein goals. Stay on top of your diet. Get in that gym and find something you're passionate about and run with it. With my signature outro, ba-bang.